Hey, welcome back to the 12-week year accountability group. Now, today's topic is kind of an odd one, and I've labeled it more than one way to feed the cat. That came from somebody in group, but I'm going to really work on today on list making and all these spoon methods that we talk about. So, when we are talking about the 12-week year, my name is Mikeworth. Thank you for being here with me. Thank you for joining the 12-week year accountability group. It is clear it is clear it is one of my favorite places to be. So if you haven't joined us before, please join in. There are lots of videos here for you, but you can join us real live. So for those of you who are live in the group, you get to see me all the time. You get to see me every week. So what I'm talking today is there's more than one way to feed a cat. There's more than one way to feed a cat. There's more than one way, and really talking about these spoon methods. And the spoon methods also came from other people in group. This is not uniquely my thought process. Some of it is, but some of it isn't. But again, this whole piece, what makes accountability group great is that there's another group of people that have decided to be part of a safe audience, that they are committed to themselves and each other. And this is a very unique group because the people that are in accountability group actually care about the other people in the group. And so that's one of the things that I love about it, is that everyone's respectful, but they also bring their best brain. They bring their best ideas. So for you who are coming to group that bring your great ideas and focus it on that chat box, I really do appreciate everything that you are bringing. So there's more one way to feed a cat, right? There's list making. So I really want to focus in on all the ways that you guys are making lists. And the spoon method is very good. One is what I'm talking about, which is the mucky spoon. So if you imagine a, a bowl of water, and that water has all of the silt on the bottom of it, and you have a long spoon that you can kind of swirl into it, every time you swish that around, um, it is going to cloud the water. It's also what we all do to our hot chocolate, right? When all the good chocolate has melted to the bottom, that we always kind of have a spoon there. That's what I do. That I have a spoon so I can stir it up and I get all the chocolatey goodness. It's not all sunk to the bottom. But what happens when you don't make a list of some sort, of all the things you have to do, and you are a high achiever, that your mind is constantly spinning with what did I forget? What has to be done next? It's constantly spinning. That is so hard on your parasympathetic system. It constantly gives you this little underground place of agitation. And if you've held that for a really long time, that becomes your natural state. And that's not good. It's not good for your body. It's not good for your brain. And it's a habit that you have built um, over many, many years. So people have this constant little state of agitation. And that is so normal to them that they don't really know what relaxation feels like. That's kind of why sometimes people use other tools to help them relax, because they haven't learned how to do it in another way. So when we think about the mucky spoon method, it is to say there's all these tasks and things that you have that are kind of the silt at the bottom. And then there's the spinning. So you're spinning it around and it gets a little mucky. And then you don't know where to start. So the point of a list is a list makes it so that you stop going back in and restirring it all the time when it doesn't need it to be. So your brain is going to go stir it to the top, stir it to the top, stir it to the top, so that the thing that's the most important would come to the surface somehow. It's actually really ineffective. So when we're looking at what a list will do, is it'll stop that mucky spoon refresh of constantly spinning. And what happens is there's a piece of energetic expense that is coming on the back end of your brain constantly refreshing. It's fatiguing. It makes you tired. If you ever have noticed what focus does for people, is focus actually gives you energy in short bursts. Having long-term focus is a struggle for everyone in this world, but a short-term focus. So one of the things that is a recommendation is to say, hey, those timed spots, In your calendar, the reason that you have a list is so you can plug them into a time. The reason that you're starting to figure out what your tasks and your strategies are and what that looks like is so that you can put them in that open time. But the point of a list is that your brain and your parasympathetic don't have to pay the price of you not making a list. And that's why you have to have a list, is so that it'll calm your parasympathetic down. It's out of your body. And that you've also heard me talk about it when we're working in a group. If you want, if you have tasks that other people have to help you with, the reason that you do a list in that case, and I call it horking up a dollhouse, if you've, and this is kind of gross, but again, it's the cat theme, because there's more than one way to feed a cat. And a cat that's just been ingesting everything, at some point is going to get sick. And they're going to, like, if you ever heard them, like, thanks for that. That's going to be permanent here now on YouTube. But if you ever seen it where they're kind of throwing up and you can kind of see it coming, and we see this when people have ingested just too much garbage in their own mind, right? If you let too many things rattle and then watch that person just emotionally vomit on you, yeah, it can work that way too. But I call it horking up a dollhouse, and that is to say when you have lots and lots of projects, you just need to kind of barf it up and you need to throw up a dollhouse. And then you imagine this little dollhouse, big or small, of all of the projects that you have. And so I need to take all of those ideas and all of those things that you have inside of you, and I need you to actually imagine yourself throwing it up like a dollhouse. And the benefit of that and why it's a dollhouse is so that you and I can play at the same time, and that other people can also solve these problems with you. So when you're looking at all of the parts in the list making, some of you are just making lists for yourself, but this is a high performing group. So many of you have multiple businesses and multiple responsibilities and multiple things that have to work at the same time. So you actually need to cough up the bigger picture of what are the areas that have to be done? What do I have to do? What do I have to invite other people to do? So right? The concept today is more than one way to feed a cat. We're going to focus on list making and why it's doing that. We're talking about the spoon methods, but we're also talking about, right, the one that keeps whirling, the whirling in the background, right? Settling down that parasympathetic so that it can go, ah. And it's also that cat that's like, let's throw it up, let's make a grid, let's do the work on that front end to go, here are all the things that have to be done. There's a dollhouse here that I can invite others to play with. The other concept actually came from someone else in group, which is that concept of spooning something in and spooning something out. So when you are thinking about the goals that you have, you want to kind of think about how many spoonfuls do you need to give a thing and how many do you have to take out of a thing. And that's a very powerful tool in a bunch of different ways. So sometimes I have to take something away from my goal because I have to take time, right? What's the spoonful that I need to give and the spoonful that I need to take? So sometimes the spoonful I need to give is this action, this action. I can give it 3 spoonfuls today. Uh, and that's another just conceptual way to go, well, let me just at least give it a spoon feed. And you've heard it in other ways, right? 5 minutes, I'm 5 minutes further than not doing it. That even taking something just 15 minutes. And remember, something that's only 15 minutes is eligible for a batch. So if I have a bunch of tasks that are on my list, right, on this major list of what has to get done, let me just take a 15-minute one. Let me see if I can do 3 or 4 ones. If it's a task that takes 45 minutes, it needs a schedule. You need to put it in and make it not just a list item, it actually needs a scheduled time. A list is often sometimes something that you can kind of do in a little bit. So if it's just something that needs 1 spoonful, and I would equate 1 spoonful with 15 minutes. And sometimes the takeaway is that I'll get something in return, right? Sometimes the spoonful back to me is that I can take it off my plate. Sometimes the spoonful back to me is self-satisfaction. Sometimes the spoonful back to me is that I'm going to book an appointment out of that, that I'm actually going to achieve something. So when you're looking at what's the spoonful that you have to put in, it's just that one spoonful. It's 15 minutes. So do I have to put 3 spoons in today? I can spoon feed that 3 times. Then when you look at it the other way, what does it give back to me? It gives me back this much more. And sometimes that spoonful that I need to spoon into something or that I need to spoon out of something. And the spoon out is also thinking about a task where you are actually removing stuff. So spooning out might actually be that you're organizing. So let me just do a spoonful out and that counts, right? So you get to do the spoon method any way that you want. However, your brain likes to align that spoon method, it's very helpful. The mucky spoon method is about really concentrating on how many times your brain is swirling. And that is really, when I think about like, what do I need you to get out of that method? It is to pay attention to how many times your brain is swirling to say, oh, gotta go, gotta go. It's really counting on the refresh. My guess is that most people are refreshing sometimes 4 times in an hour. And if you're refreshing in 4 times in an hour, that's too many. That refresh when you have a list will go down from 4 times an hour down to 2 times a day. So like, let me look at my list. Or how many times are you kind of activating that? And being in control of how many times your brain is refreshing on the goals is powerful. And that takes about 6 months for most people is they start checking how many times their brain is searching, make a little check mark, make a little check mark, make a little check mark, and they just start tracking how often is my brain searching for what should I do? Or how many times am I just standing here going, oh God, I have so much to do. I have so much to do. Oh my God, there's so much to do. I don't know where to start. What should I do now? What should I do now? Right? That kind of spinning little feature that we all see on our technology is it's thinking, it's thinking, it's thinking. Yeah, well, you might want to use that energy differently, and you get to with practice. And this is a practice thing. We are all learning this together. So the takeaways today is focus on your strengths. There's more than one way to feed a cat. Look at the list making, okay? And then the concept you want to think about are the cat pieces and the spoon pieces. So today is cats and spoons, right? There's more than one way to feed a cat. And right, there's how many spoons do you need to give to something? How many spoons do you need to take away? And then thinking about that mucky, right? How many times is your brain stirring that up because it wants something? And really looking at that refresh model in your brain and saying, how many times is my mind refreshing because I don't have a list, because I haven't settled this other score? And watch, watch your parasympathetic come down. When I say to you, this is going to take you a couple months, it'll take your parasympathetic system a while to get used to not being in constant agitation, not having to constantly refresh. It's not like it's going to be like, oh, thank you so much. I've been so stressed about it. No, it's going to naturally go back to that pattern. So we have to naturally pay attention to it, naturally turn the refresh off every so often, and just allow it to be. Remember, rest is a tool, rest is allowed. And list making actually allows you to have more time in rest and refresh than it does in just agitation. And that's also what you're learning is how to engage at certain times and how to disengage at times. How to engage at times and how to disengage at times. You have to learn how to engage properly so that you can actually learn to disengage properly. So that is a lot in one method. I am glad to see you. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for doing the work. And thank you for thinking about these things in another way. It is always an honor to be here with you. I am thankful for you to be here, and I'm excited to hear and see what you have. There is a chat box. You go right ahead and put in your thoughts and ideas, and just the ways that you're doing it. And if you're a cat lover, just put in the name of your cat because we like that too. All right, bye.